Hi bakers, I'm Crystal the Cake Lady, and today's episode is for chocolate lovers only. So if you don't love chocolate, just keep on scrolling. But if you do, let me show you how I make my triple chocolate cake. It's really easy. We're going to start with a chocolate cake mix and dress it up with things like chocolate chips and chocolate pudding in the batter. Coat it with a nice chocolate frosting and drizzle with chocolate ganache on top. It is super yummy and appetizing. I can't wait for you to try it. Stick around so I can show you what you'll need.
3 8 or 9 inch pans coated in baker's joy, 1 cup of sour cream, 4 large eggs, 1 cup of vegetable oil, a half a cup of warm water, a box of chocolate devil's food cake mix, a large box of chocolate instant pudding, and 2 cups of chocolate chips, whichever kind you prefer.
As far as frosting this cake, you have a couple of different options. My personal favorite is to frost it with chocolate fudge frosting, which I'm going to attach a link for that recipe. The chocolate fudge frosting is a little less intense. It's not as dark of a chocolate. It's kind of sweet, melt in your mouth, because you've got the decadent cake underneath. You're going to have the nice dark chocolate ganache drizzle on top. So I kind of like a sweeter frosting to balance it out. However, this particular cake is for my sister, and she's a dark chocolate fanatic. So I'm going to make a giant batch of dark chocolate ganache. I'm going to save a little bit for the drizzle on top, and I'm going to whip the rest and frost it with the cake. Whipping it makes it a little lighter in color, a little lighter in texture, a little less intense. And then that way when we drizzle it with the ganache, you have a little bit of a contrast. It looks super appetizing. So know that you have 2 different options. Let me know which you prefer in the comment section below.
I find these miniature chocolate chips melt really nicely. You're going to use 3 cups of chocolate chips and 2 cups of hot, heavy whipping cream. You may notice I only added 2 cups of chocolate chips. That's because I already had some leftover ganache for my drizzle on top. You're going to want to follow this recipe: 3 cups of chocolate to 2 cups of hot, heavy cream. Let it sit undisturbed for 2 minutes, then stir with a whisk until you have that gorgeous, silky smooth ganache. It takes a few minutes to come together, so don't panic. You haven't messed anything up. Just give it a little time. It will need to cool for several hours. Cooling at room temperature really is best. You can totally spread it on the cake just like this, foregoing the whipping and the drizzle on top. It will be rich and delicious and save some time, but I love the presentation of the lighter whipped ganache with the dark chocolate dripping down the sides. So I'm going to set aside about 3/4 of a cup of the ganache for the drizzle and whip the rest. I just whipped it for 2 to 3 minutes on high speed with my hand mixer, and it turns into this silky, easy to spread, luscious frosting. We'll frost the layers and sides of our cake, and it's very important to chill thoroughly before adding the drizzle. If it isn't chilled enough, you'll wind up with a mess because it will melt the whipped ganache, so chill it for an hour or even longer if possible. Reheat the dark, unwhipped ganache in the microwave at 10-second intervals and stir until it is runny again. I found that my favorite way to get the thin, long drips is to pour it into this $1 bottle I found at the dollar store and squeeze varying amounts so the drips vary in length. Then I squeeze the rest on top and use an offset spatula to cover the entire top of the cake. If you don't have a bottle, you can always just spread warm ganache over the top with an offset spatula, taking it all the way over the edge for a similar effect. Here's a little hack for making pretty peaks with the whipped cream using a Ziploc bag. Add a few layers of Scotch tape, maybe a ½ inch up from the corner, and cut a couple of triangles out where the tape is. Then fill the bag and seal it, and when you squeeze out the whipped cream, you can make a pretty little swirl.
Just know the chocolate lover in your life is going to go crazy over this triple chocolate cake recipe. They'll never guess that you started with a boxed cake mix, and don't worry, I won't tell. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, Crystal the Cake Lady. I release videos each weekend and you don't want to miss one, so ring that little bell. Until next time, happy baking!